Did Alexandra Eala win that? The crowd are on their feet. Eala barely has the energy to get to the net to congratulate her opponent on a classic.
What if one sentence from Novak Djokovic revealed who could become tennis' next global superstar? At the Australian Open, a routine press conference suddenly turned into one of the biggest talking points in the sport when Djokovic brought up Alex Eala without anyone expecting it. He wasn't talking about a Grand Slam title or a championship run. Instead, he pointed to something even more surprising: the unbelievable crowds following the young Filipina everywhere she played. Fans packed the courts, walkways became overcrowded, and organizers struggled to manage the demand. Rather than criticizing the situation, Djokovic described it as a sign that tennis is reaching new audiences and that Alex Eala represents something much bigger than rankings alone. When the greatest player of his generation publicly recognizes a rising star, people pay attention. And what he said next made many fans realize that Alex Eala's journey may only be getting started.
The other day with Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's big interest. So things like that happen. It's
As Djokovic reflected on how the Australian Open has changed over the years, he explained that the tournament has grown from a much smaller event into one of the biggest spectacles in world sport. He remembered when facilities were far more limited and compared that era to today's packed stadiums and worldwide attention. Then he shifted the conversation to Alex Eala, saying that players from countries with passionate supporters naturally bring enormous interest wherever they compete. He suggested that scheduling challenges are simply part of a growing sport and that having too many fans is far better than having empty seats. Those comments carried extra weight because they came from someone who has experienced every stage of tennis history firsthand. But the real impact of his words became clear once fans looked at what had actually happened during Eala's matches.
You could argue that it was, maybe a poor schedule, and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's so young and she's just coming through. So, and obviously the first couple rounds, the schedule is so packed. The big courts with big names, it's difficult. It's not easy to manage that, but. Again, it's a good problem to have, to be honest. Let's just imagine if there's a lack of people coming, or that stands are empty. That's a bigger problem.
The scenes surrounding Alex Eala quickly became one of the biggest stories of the tournament. Crowds gathered long before she stepped onto the court, spectators searched for every available seat, and many fans were left standing outside after the viewing areas filled up. It wasn't only Filipino supporters either. Tennis fans from different countries wanted to see the young player everyone had been talking about. The excitement showed that Eala's popularity was growing much faster than many expected. While tournament organizers faced difficult decisions about court assignments, the overwhelming attendance highlighted just how much anticipation surrounded every one of her appearances. And that unexpected popularity raised an even bigger question about the future of women's tennis. Djokovic's praise wasn't based only on packed crowds. He recognized something many people inside tennis were beginning to notice: Alex Eala has the ability to connect with fans in a unique way. Her calm attitude, fearless style, and willingness to compete against higher-ranked opponents have earned respect throughout the tour. Every strong performance has added to the belief that she belongs on the biggest stages. Although she is still developing as a professional, the attention around her has continued to grow with every tournament. For many observers, she no longer looks like a player simply gaining experience. She looks like someone preparing to become one of the sport's biggest names. That level of attention also brings enormous pressure. Every match now comes with higher expectations, constant media coverage, and millions of fans hoping to see another breakthrough performance. Young players often need time to develop away from the spotlight, but Alex Eala has found herself carrying the hopes of an entire nation while still building her career. Djokovic understands that challenge better than almost anyone because he knows what it feels like to represent a country on the biggest stages in tennis. His comments weren't just praise, they were also recognition of the responsibility that comes with becoming a national sporting icon at such a young age. The Australian Open experience may become an important lesson for future tournaments. As tennis continues expanding into new markets, organizers may have to rethink how they schedule rising stars whose popularity extends far beyond their rankings. Alex Eala demonstrated that fan demand doesn't always follow traditional expectations. Sometimes a young player can attract as much attention as established champions because of the excitement they generate around the world. If that trend continues, tournaments will need to adapt more quickly to avoid repeating the same logistical problems seen during her matches. And many believe this is only the beginning. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from Novak Djokovic's remarks wasn't simply that he praised Alex Eala, it was the kind of praise he chose to give. Djokovic rarely singles out young players unless he genuinely believes they have something special, which is why his comments immediately caught the attention of tennis fans around the world. By acknowledging both her growing popularity and the incredible support she receives from the Philippines, he showed that Eala is no longer viewed as just another promising prospect. She is becoming a player capable of influencing the future of the sport. That recognition matters not only to fans but also to sponsors, tournament organizers, broadcasters, and even fellow players who understand how difficult it is to earn respect at the highest level. Every tournament she enters will now come with greater expectations, more media attention, and larger crowds hoping to witness another breakthrough performance. Of course, praise alone doesn't win matches. Alex Eala will still have to prove herself against some of the toughest competitors in women's tennis. But having one of the greatest champions in history publicly support her gives her something few young athletes ever receive: confidence that the biggest names in the sport believe she belongs on the biggest stages. And if she keeps delivering strong performances, that belief could soon turn into something even greater. Whether Alex Eala eventually lifts a Grand Slam trophy is something only time can answer, but one thing has already changed forever: people across the tennis world are paying attention. The unforgettable scenes at the Australian Open, the overwhelming fan support, and Novak Djokovic's public endorsement have combined to create momentum that cannot be ignored. Instead of seeing the crowded courts as a problem, Djokovic viewed them as proof that tennis is expanding into exciting new markets and reaching millions of passionate fans who finally have someone to cheer for. That may ultimately become the biggest story of all. Alex Eala is carrying the hopes of an entire nation while trying to build a career against the world's best players, and that journey is only beginning. The pressure will continue to grow, expectations will become even higher, and every victory or defeat will be watched more closely than ever before. But history has shown that the sport's biggest stars often announce themselves long before they win their first major title. If Alex Eala continues developing at this pace, many fans may one day look back at this moment not simply as the day Novak Djokovic praised a talented young player, but as the turning point when one tennis legend quietly introduced the sport's next global superstar. Years from now, people may remember the overflowing crowds, the worldwide headlines, and the respect she earned from one of the greatest champions in history as the first signs that something extraordinary was unfolding. Every legendary career has a moment when the tennis world begins to realize it is witnessing the rise of someone special, and for Alex Eala, this could be that defining chapter. The road ahead will still demand consistency, resilience, and major victories, but if she continues to grow with the same determination and fearless attitude, this story may become far bigger than one tournament or one remarkable endorsement. It could mark the beginning of a new era, one where Alex Eala inspires millions, opens new doors for tennis across Asia, and proves that the next global icon can emerge from anywhere, capturing the imagination of the entire sporting world.